This is Independent Talk here on Power 106 FM. I'm Althea McKenzie. Joining us this morning to talk about the Economic Diversification Program for banana-producing parishes is Deacon Rod Burgess, Senior Director, Recipient Services, Food for the Poor. Deacon Burgess, good morning. How are you?
Very good, thank you. And good morning to you and to your listeners.
Good to have you with us. One of the things that I find so interesting about Food for the Poor is the level of community involvement that you have in the different parishes across the length and breadth of the island. And who'd have thought that you're actually focused on the kinds of issues that you are? People know you primarily for providing housing, for providing some form of shelter, for providing for persons who are in need. So I think they want to find out about this particular program, the Economic Diversification Program for banana-producing parishes. How did that come about?
Well, a lot of people, as you just said, are known for those areas that we consider average areas. We have, over the years, expanded ourselves in agriculture. A lot of people do not know that we have 18 fishing villages throughout the island that we assist fishermen, and we have started out with agriculture because we saw that a number of small farmers, as we build houses throughout the island, number of small farmers wasn't getting any assistance to the extent to make them self-sufficient. We heard about the European Union wanting to assist small farmers in the banana areas that was devastated. And we thought we could make a contribution, given our success in the assistance of many farmers after 2 hurricanes, that we were able to engage our donors from overseas to give us seed and farming tools to get them back on their feet. And that was a success story for us. So when we saw EU advertise to get our organization to assist in the development of small farmers in the agriculture here in the banana belt in particular, we applied. We were happy that we were engaged. Very interesting program. We engaged 40 farmers, 20 over in Somerset in St. Thomas and 20 in Esher, St. Mary. What is so unique about it is that these are young, many of them are young graduates from farm school and who had access to their parents' land. I was about to give up because everything seemed to have been going in the wrong direction. And this program, we jumped into it 18 months ago, and we decided that the best thing to engage them in are things that would bring them some, I love to dub it, wealth.
Yes.
And sustainable income. And so we engaged them in Scotch bonnet pepper, which is such a high demand for. We engaged them in beekeeping because honey, again, I don't know if we'll ever be able to satisfy the need of honey in Jamaica and also North America. And also, we decided to get them into cattle rearing, which is primarily in goats. Because we know that goats, you just want to have a party in Jamaica and somebody wants.
Absolutely.
And so we, those are the 3 aspects of the farming areas that we engage with young farmers in. And I'm telling you, they jumped into it with our 2 agriculturists, young men too, who are just graduates from farm school with their bright ideas. And we went on the ground and we solicited their participation, and they jumped into it. And as they say, the rest is history. They're making money.
Yes. How many young men and women did you engage in the program?
It is 40 in all, 20. I would say half women and half men.
Well, that's good.
In Esher and about same ratio in Somerset and St. Thomas.
And as I listen to you, I realize that this is very much in keeping with Food for the Poor and your mandate, because as I think of the logo, that fish, that suggests that if you give a man a fish, you feed him for the day, but if you teach him how to fish, then you are providing that man with, and in this case men and women, with skills for a lifetime. So are you hoping then that these young people will remain engaged in the agricultural sector at whatever level? Because you may find that some of them feel that the need now to move on to other things in the sector.
It's very interesting that you raised that, because at our closing ceremony, the expression was that they want to begin to seek to get additional land to expand their present situation. And we are so happy that Minister Clark was so happy to hear that he immediately speak to where do you want the land? RADA is our partner too with the European Union, and they have been mandated to assist as far as possible in the expansion of this program. I believe these young people have been, and some mature men have been really sold on this, and they're making money.
Yeah.
And having a decent livelihood.
What are some of the major benefits? Let us walk through the major benefits of this particular program, because one of the things that I know that you're all focused on is the education of farmers, of the young people in best practices in agriculture. But there are some other components as well, eh?
Yes, indeed. A matter of fact, why we target these three particular areas, we found that there was a gap with the demand and the supply. For instance, in the Scotch bonnet pepper, when we did our survey, we realized that I don't know if we'll ever be able to exhaust that market. And the demand was as such that the people were coming to the farm to buy the pepper rather than we going to the market.
Look at that. So it's not just a ready market that you had identified, but persons heard about what you're doing and decided that they wanted to come and get their own.
Indeed, indeed. And so that in itself lends itself to expansion.
Yes.
And in the honey area, we found that people were coming to buy honey not by the bottle, but by the 5-gallon bucket. We were really flabbergasted. New Year's for us in terms of the magnitude of the whole thing. But the benefit, the major benefit from this is that we see a long-term partnership with persons who are in the export trade for these things, peppers and the honey, and also butchers who are interested in the good quality goat meat. And so as one farmer expressed last Thursday, even my grandchildren will inherit from this. And so what we have taught them and what the RAD has brought to the table to assist them too is definitely going to be a win-win situation, both for the farmers and for the country at large.
I listened with great interest as you spoke about the fact that persons traveled in to get their buckets of honey and traveled to get the peppers. And it tells me something, Deacon Burgess, the fact that we have this tremendous potential for growth in this country of ours. But sometimes if we don't focus and find where it is that growth potential is, then that is when we start to complain. So rather than finding solutions to the problems, we start to complain about what it is that we can't do, what it is that has not been done. But this program is an excellent example of finding a niche, finding something that works with the young people, getting the right kinds of support systems behind them, and then encouraging them to use the skills that they have been taught.
Absolutely. And our focus always at Food for the Poor is self-sustainability, and also for the long haul. We know that's going to come up. We want it to be something that will benefit community, benefit family, and obviously benefit Jamaica on a whole. But you're perfectly correct. A lot of people grumble and groan, but there are so many opportunities. And this is what Food for the Poor goes about doing, looking for opportunities to ensure that sustainability for both those who participate and the country at large. gain the benefit of it. And we are very proud that we are into this business. And we are asking the European Union again to engage us in a similar way in other banana areas that have been really devastated because of the downturn of bananas. So that again we can bring some life and energy to the community, as we have seen in Esher and in Somerset in St. Thomas.
Now, Esher and Somerset, were those two of the areas severely affected by Hurricane Sandy?
Yes.
Yes.
But more than anything else, severely affected by banana. That's all their grandparents and parents had lived off. And the banana industry, as you know, that's when crashing.
So it's a rebuilding of community, a rebuilding of, I would suppose, of a society in terms of what it is that these people are able to offer.
Indeed, and in fact, and it brings out the potential of our farmers who really didn't know where to turn, and the young children who went to school and the women who went to farm school. This was almost looking at each other.
I think in one word we can describe what it is that has occurred as a result of this particular program, hope. And we're going to take a look at that when we come back, as well as the establishment of farmers associations, because I think that is a very important linchpin in this process. This is Independent Talk here on Power 106 FM. I'm Althea McKenzie, and we're inside Farm Talk. I'm having a conversation with Deacon Ron Burgess, Senior Director, Recipient Services, Food for the Poor, and we're talking about the Economic Diversification Program for banana-producing parishes. It is a program for which they have the support of the European Union. And before we took the break, Deacon Burgess, I said I wanted to focus on the whole idea of hope.
Yeah.
And I'm going to speak about one of the farmers here, Mr. Omar Morris, a farmer from Esher in St. Mary, who says he lost practically all of his peppers lost his plants in the hurricane. And Food for the Poor gave back some pepper suckers, and I replanted my peppers. I'm really enjoying farming, and I will continue to farm. Now, it is very important that we highlight these kinds of stories, because it means that here is a gentleman who has found hope through your program. That idea of not sitting down and allowing your dreams to die simply because there has been some sort of tragedy in your life, or it is that Mother Nature has taken its course. Isn't this a very important message for others out there in the agricultural sector who sometimes feel that after the passage of a hurricane, they can't pick up the pieces?
Absolutely. And you know, it all comes down to planning and to forward thinking, because we understand the hurricane season, the various possibilities. His family was wiped out in the banana area through hurricane. But what we looked at is to ensure that we had a nursery where we had seedlings, that as we prepared for the hurricane season, and we know that some of the farmers who did not have proper areas to create their own little nurseries would have been affected. And it was encouraging to us that farmers who had seedlings, along with those that we had already purchased, forward purchased, was able to assist in such a way. Which brings me to the very point that you made about hope, that if we come together as groups, not with selfish desires only, but with the really forward thinking of building community, so that they can see the success not only for themselves, but for the entire community that they live in. That bond that could be established, which we always try to do when we go to assist farmers, to bring them together with this bond and this foresight and this one thinking that, look, my success is the community success. All our success is our parish success.
Yes, and there is strength in numbers, and I love how you have tied the two ideas that I wanted to focus on coming off the break, the whole idea of hope with the formation of farmers associations, because I think there is, as you say, strength in numbers. Certainly that strengthening of the bond among the members of the farming community in the different areas very critical. Mm-hmm. Especially if they're going to focus on areas such as tourism.
Yeah. I think I really want to encourage all of farmers. If they listen very carefully to what Minister Clark is trying to do, where we can feed ourselves, that if we take it up with the help of a number, you see, their main problem, as I'm on the ground with them, nobody's interested, meaning financial institution is interested to assist them or take a chance with them. It is a chance.
Yes.
But there is pockets of organizations around that with the right presentation to them, they will make a venture.
So it's a chance worth taking.
It is.
Yes.
It is indeed.
In fact, Orville Wright, another beneficiary, this one out of Somerset, says it's an excellent program and the farmers are grateful for this investment. Now, what I find interesting coming out of Mr. Wright is that this is the closing ceremony of the event, and he's saying even now beneficiaries are still excited. See what hope can do?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
What advice then would you have to offer to farmers who have found themselves in these kinds of positions where they feel that there is no way forward?
I will encourage them to pull together a group of them, whether through the JS or rather an excellent avenue for them to begin to have dialogue and to listen to their advice. Don't go off on your own. I used to grow this for how much 100 years and I want to stay with this. There are new technology, there are new ways, and I dare to say that, I'm proud to say that RADA has a lot of experts.
Yes.
And that they can point in the direction that will make you successful.
Yes.
But as the minister put it, put money in your pocket and improve your lifestyle.
And I think that is where we need to lift our people to that understanding that it is not that they should be depending on government for handouts, but rather the kind of assistance that will encourage them, that will enable them, that will empower them, so that they can then go out and make a difference in the communities from which they come.
Well said. Well said. That's exactly what it is all about.
Yes.
And the determination. Don't throw up your hand in the air. There's always something good, something can come your way if you put your mind to it. As I said to all the farmers when we started, look, let's just be positive about this. Let's just move forward and see where it ends. I believe that if the Lord helps to build this house, we never labor in vain.
Indeed.
So let's move forward.
And there's someone who wants to know a little bit more about the fishing villages. You mentioned that you have 18 fishing villages?
Yes.
A little bit more about that?
Well, what we did, again, after the hurricane, we solicit donations from overseas to assist the fishermen to recover. We bought boats, we bought equipment for them to move away from pot fishing and fishing near to the shore, but rather to go beyond. So we are specializing, we have been teaching, we have taught rather, all our fishermen to go beyond the reef, out in the deep, to really get into deep sea fishing. The challenges we're having right now is that a lot of the people are not used to the big fish, the 6-7 pounders, and so marketing has become a big challenge for us right now. But we don't give up. We swear we believe that there are avenues that we can assist them. So you must be living in an area. It's a community-based village. And it's exactly that. It is a community that we give 4 or 5 boats to a community. We select captains, that's the persons that are responsible for the boats, along with 4 crew members. And we equip them with the fishing lines and the technology as to how to go out and where to go. Teach them how to have GPS tracking devices so they don't get lost there.
Literally teaching them how to fish, but to be very responsible about it. We have to leave the discussion there, Deacon Burgess. But I thank you so very much for having shared with us this morning. And I certainly want to wish Food for the Poor all the best in every undertaking going forward. This country is so much better for having an organization such as yours.
We appreciate that.
Thanks much. Deacon Ron Burgess, Senior Director, Recipient Services, Food for the Poor.